This is someone that you are giving a lot of authority, so choose wisely. Now, today we're going to talk about medical power of attorneys. Now, before we get started, please read this disclaimer. All right, now that we got that out the way, just know that choosing a medical power of attorney should not be something that you rush into deciding, if you can help it. This is someone that you are giving a lot of authority. So a medical power of attorney is someone that makes medical decisions for you on your behalf if and when there's ever a time you're unable to make your own medical decisions. That's if you are in a coma or you have a brain injury, if you're in surgery under anesthesia. Who do you trust to make decisions for you? Now, in some states, they do allow you to have 2 people. In other states may allow you to have 3. Every state is different. There may also be regulations that the person has to be over the age of 18 or over the age of 21. You want to check your state laws regarding requirements for medical power of attorneys. But prior to even getting to the medical power of attorney stage, I want you to think about your wishes. What are some preferences that you may or may not want in a medical emergency? Let me give you an example. If you were in an accident and your heart stopped beating and you stopped breathing and CPR was required, do you want CPR? What if you needed to go on a ventilator? How long are you willing to be on a ventilator for? Or are you even willing to try a ventilator if it's recommended? Are you willing to be on a feeding tube or have a feeding tube placed if you are on the ventilator for a long period of time, or it's been determined that you're unable to swallow and the doctor wants you to have this feeding tube? How long are you willing to have a feeding tube? For some people, they would not want a feeding tube no matter what, and that's their choice. For others, they may want the feeding tube and ventilator if there's a chance for them to recover, or to see if they can regain the ability to swallow on their own or breathe again on their own, but they wouldn't want it permanently. Then you have others who say, if I'm in a vegetative state or in a coma or have severe brain damage, I don't want any type of aggressive treatment. Or if I have a terminal illness, or if I'm unable to live in my own home. Any preference is okay, but just think about when you would and when you would not want life support treatment overall. Now, once you've come up with your preferences, I want you to think about someone that you know would feel comfortable making these same decisions for you. Even if they don't necessarily agree with your decisions, maybe your decisions is something that they wouldn't choose for themselves, but they have enough respect for you that it's important for them to honor your wishes, because that's what a medical power of attorney is going to do. They're going to say, Dad can't speak for himself, but Dad told me this is what he wants. I stand by Dad, and this is what we're going to do. Sometimes when we choose a medical power of attorney, we choose our children, we choose our spouses, we may choose our parents, but that may not always be the best person. Your wife or husband may not be comfortable saying no life support treatment, or they may not be comfortable keeping you on a ventilator for a long period of time. You have to try to find someone that you know would be comfortable following out your wishes. It could be a neighbor, it can be a friend, it can be someone you go to church with, an old classmate. Again, it doesn't have to be an immediate family member. I want you to think about someone that can handle stressful situations or someone that can handle pressure. Because obviously, if there's a time that you're not able to speak and the doctors need to come to this medical power of attorney, something may not be right. So someone that can still handle the pressure and still take control, and also someone that is able to communicate with people effectively, someone that can be calm, someone that can understand the information being told to them. All of these factors are needed and very crucial when it comes to making informed decisions. And not necessarily, but it may also be a good idea, depending on your situation, to choose someone that lives close to you. Someone that if something were to happen, they can get to you easily. Now, it could also be beneficial to choose someone that has a medical background or someone that has a good understanding of your health conditions. Now, once you've decided, or in your mind you've picked who you want to be as your medical power of attorney or attorneys, the next thing I would recommend is to go to those individuals and say, hey, I'm going to be doing a medical power of attorney document pretty soon. Would you mind being that person for me? How do you feel about being that designated person that the healthcare providers are going to go to, or that my doctor is going to go to if there's ever a time that I'm unavailable and I'm not able to speak for myself? You'll be surprised at how many people may not be comfortable. This is a tough role. It could be a lot of pressure. It could be an overwhelming feeling for that person. So I think it's always courteous to give them a heads up or just see how they feel first before you actually put their names on the document. Okay, so now you have chosen your medical power of attorneys and they agree to accept this role. What I need you to do now is to answer these 3 questions. Number 1, do you want your medical power of attorney to have power to make decisions for you immediately, right now, as you are signing the documents, or not until you are unable to make your own decisions? Number 2, do you give your medical power of attorney permission to override your preferences and your wishes? Something to think about. And the last question is there anything you can think of that you do not want your medical power of attorneys to be able to do? Is there anything that you do not want anyone to have permission to do for you? Think about it. For some people, it's do not put me in a nursing home, or do not leave me on a ventilator for 2 weeks. Whatever you could think of, but think about these 3 questions after you have chosen your people to be your medical power of attorneys. Once you answer these questions, make sure that they are aware of your preferences, and make sure you also communicate this with your doctors and healthcare providers so that everyone is on the same page. All right, y'all, those are my tips for choosing a medical power of attorney. I will be doing another video that kind of breaks down all the authorities that you're giving your medical power of attorney, which is different by state. So the best thing to actually do is to look up your state laws, but I will be doing a video about that soon. But I hope this video was helpful. If so, please share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.